Wazir studied electrical engineering at Marquette University in Milwaukee. He earned a doctorate in business administration in the UK. He was named the governor of the Palestine Monetary Authority more than 2 years ago, and he is joining us now in the newsroom. So glad to have you here with us this morning. So the IMF forecasts that the West Bank and the Gaza can see 7% growth this year, 8% next year, 10% in 2012. What are you doing to make sure that happens?
Well, we've started the reform process 2 years ago, and I think now it's bearing fruit. The banking sector profits last year were up by 30% in the midst of a financial crisis. Credit is up by 25%, and so we discovered that even though there are risks in the region, the political risks in Palestine were less than the outside following the financial crisis. So banks and investors started investing in the local market, and things have improved.
Is that the #1 challenge that you see to growth in the region, is that you just have concern, probably from private sources, from overseas, that there is such political instability in the region?
Well, it's always been there. What's new is that recently security situation has improved. The peace process, even though it has its ups and downs, but business goes on, and I think investors are feeling that, and the stock market has performed, is one of the best performing stock markets in the Middle East compared to other regions, and with people having financial crisis and debt problems and so on. I think there are opportunities in an emerging market like
Some
this.
critics might say that you've achieved the growth that you have based on donor aid and that you need more private money, more private capital. What would you say to them?
I think there's truth to that. It's consumption-based. I think we need to mobilize the manufacturing sector, the tourism sector, and other sectors in the economy. Donor funding is helping, and I think also easing of restrictions by Israeli occupation, and checkpoints have eased, and so there are movement, and investors are trying to come back. So it helps.
What countries are the main donors so far?
Well, the United States and the European Union are the largest contributors to the Palestinian economy. But what's important that this year, and the fiscal situation has improved, and the government percentage in terms of revenue has increased, and they are on the right fiscal path for stability, as well as to achieving at least 80% funding to local revenues.
So you mentioned the EU and the US. Are you satisfied with the participation of other Arab nations? Do you feel like they support enough or giving enough money?
It goes up and down, but I think recently things have improved also on Arab side. And usually when there is a gap, depending on the situation, if some of the funding comes in, weakens from one part, the other part comes in and tries to fill that gap. The important thing is that all this support is trying to sustain the peace process, and as you know, sometimes things are not working, sometimes they're not. And on the economic side, at least maintaining the stability through economic improvement, through giving the Palestinians that if you focus on job creation and improving the local economy, improving the lot of Palestinians, then hopefully it'll be easier to cross the path into the peace process.
Governor, we thank you so much for coming in. Our thanks to Governor Wazir. He is the governor of the Palestinian Monetary Authority.